Greetings to all of you. I want to talk about the energies of the full moon on February 12th. Remember, as we work with the lunar cycle, that we start at the dark of the moon before the new moon appears in the sky. And it's in the dark of the moon that we're in that mystery of the beginning of a new lunar cycle. And it's often why I talk about the importance of taking time to meditate, to dream, to open to the guidance coming to us at this time of the dark of the moon that is supporting us in what is being seeded, what is being birthed as we're in this new cycle and in the mystery, not quite knowing what is to emerge. And the time of the full moon is when what has been seeded at the dark of the moon comes to more full fruition, comes to more of the light of our awareness for us to bring it out into the world and into form. So before we talk about the energies of this full moon, let's glance again at the energies of the new moon on January 29th. As I talked about in that new moon video, our new moon on January 29th was at 9 degrees of Aquarius. This was the first lunar cycle, the first new moon of this year, 2025. And it is profound that as we were in that time of this beginning of a new lunar cycle, it was in the energy of Aquarius with the sun and moon conjunct Pluto, guiding us in this transformation that we're in into the Aquarian age and into being able to dream these new forms and to begin to honor this liminal time that we're in as we're moving out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. Now, as we honor this energy of the full moon on February 12th, when the moon comes into the fullness of its light, we have the sun at 24 degrees of Aquarius now opposite the moon at 24 degrees of Leo. So how are we meant to bring this transformation of our ways of being into this Aquarian age? And I think part of what's symbolic in this full moon is we need to come from our hearts, Leo. We need to tap into our own creative expression, Leo. And the moon at 24 degrees of Leo is conjunct, as we'll see a little bit later in this video, it's conjunct the royal star Regulus, the heart of Leo, the lion, guiding us to be moving into the Aquarian age from our hearts with courage. And it's significant that Pluto was so powerfully at work at the time of the new moon. And now in the time of the full moon, the sun and moon are squaring Uranus. And I think this is supporting us in getting clarity and more awareness of these new forms that we're moving into, and remembering Uranus, that they will be about truth and justice and new ways of being in relationship with each other and the earth, Uranus in Taurus. So it is still very much about a time of transition and transformation, but now we're gaining more insight, more clarity, more awareness of what are these forms that we're moving into. And the fact that it is also about how we change our relationship with the earth is underscored by the fact that Ceres, signifying our relationship with the earth, our nurturing mother, is now conjunct the sun and opposite the moon. And Mercury is also conjunct the sun, opposite the moon. And I think Uranus squaring Mercury, remember that Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, calling our ways of thinking and seeing into that connection with higher mind, divine mind, with cosmic consciousness. We're guided to move beyond our over-idealization of our intellect to honoring our connection with the clarity, the messages, the insights that can come to us from our connection with cosmic consciousness, from our connection to spirit, to source. And as we look at some of the other Kuiper Belt objects and points that are important at the time of this full moon, and particularly with this chart, I want to look again at the healing centaurs. We now have Chariklo conjunct the sun, opposite the moon, with Chiron at 19 degrees of Aries, still in aspect to the sun and moon. So again, we're still in this theme of the importance of our healing as we're moving into these new paradigms, to heal our sense of self, heal the out of balanced Aries energies of the past. And with Chariklo conjunct the sun and opposite this full moon, how do we hold that compassion, that sense of presence with and for each other? Chariklo and Aquarius, how do we not fear each other in our differentness, but honor the diversity of who we are and remember that we are all part of the oneness of this human global community. We are all part of the oneness of all that is. But the other Kuiper Belt objects that I want to focus on more fully in this video are the Kuiper Belt objects of Varda, which is at 29 degrees of Sagittarius, and Manway at 2 degrees of Aries. In particular, I want to talk about the meaning of Varda. What's significant about these Kuiper Belt objects is they were both discovered in 2003. Varda was discovered June 21st, 2003, and Manway August 25th, 2003. So a few months apart. Varda was discovered by an astronomer in Tucson, Arizona. Manway discovered from an observatory in Chile. They both have companion objects. Varda's orbit is 313 years, and Manway's is 289 years. So these are both trans-Neptunian objects, Kuiper Belt objects, further out in our solar system. What I think is very significant is, since their discovery, they've been squaring each other in the sky. And at the time of its discovery, Varda was at 23 degrees of Sagittarius. It's now at 29 degrees of Sagittarius. So across the time it's been in our awareness, it is conjunct our perspective of the galactic center at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. And now, at the time of this full moon, it is squaring the lunar nodes, which are at south node 27 degrees of Virgo, north node 27 degrees of Pisces. I think it's profound that this Kuiper Belt object is aligned with the galactic center and now squaring the lunar nodes, meaning it is very significant for us in our human consciousness at this time. And remember, from an evolutionary astrology perspective, when something is squaring the lunar nodes, it means this is something we need to pay attention to. We need to integrate and understand those energies in order to be honoring what the North Node is calling us into collectively as this next step and growth in our human consciousness. And when a planetary body is squaring the lunar nodes, you look at which one it's in aspect to. In this case, the South Node. It has to be worked here in order to move into the North Node. Varda is squaring the South Node in Virgo, and I think the meaning of that is, how do we align with the galactic center? To heal, Virgo is the sign associated with healing. To have discernment, Virgo. To know how to live our lives here on the earth plane. so that we can, North Node in Pisces, come back into that understanding of oneness, come from a place of compassion, move more fully into spiritual consciousness, higher consciousness. But we need to attend to how we are on the earth plane, how we're healing, how we're living in a way that it is right, in right alignment with the galactic center, with our source, in order to be coming from compassion and spiritual consciousness and moving into these new ways of being. Neptune is now is continuing to be conjunct the North Node, and Manway at 2 degrees of Aries is in an out of sign conjunction with the North Node. And it is also conjunct Venus at 5 degrees of Aries. What does all this mean? I think it's so significant that these Kuiper Belt objects that have been identified across the last 20 years or so have, for the most part, been named after indigenous creation deities, reminding us, remember that when something comes into our conscious awareness, it's reminding us as humanity of what we need to pay attention to. And I think it's significant that in these Kuiper Belt objects being named after indigenous creation deities, it's reminding us of the wisdom of ancient cultures that are guiding us into remembering our interconnectedness with each other and all that is, that are reminding us of the sacredness of the earth, of how we need to move out of these distorted power over patriarchal paradigms that are leading to our own destruction and the destruction of the earth and come back into right balance, right harmony. But I love that these 2 Kuiper Belt objects are named after creation deities in Tolkien's Lord of the Rings series. These 2 are archangels or powers of the cosmos that helped create the world. And Manway and Varda were a sacred couple. They were much like the ancient understanding of Isis and Osiris, these benign leaders helping guide us in consciousness. Manway, in the Tolkien books, was the chief of valor. These are the 14 powers of the world, or archangels, who created all that is. He was the breath of the world, the Lord of wind and air and birds, the elder king who guided the gods and elves and humans and was a kind and compassionate ruler. Varda, his partner, was known as Queen of the Stars. She was the one who created the stars and the constellations and set the sun and moon on their courses in the sky. She radiated the light of Source, and that was her power and her joy. Both of these archangels in the books get into a struggle with the Lord of Darkness, the fallen angel, the force of evil out to destroy the world. This is Melkor. And he was enraged because he wanted to control all that is and control the light. He operated out of that power over paradigm. And he and Manway would get into a struggle, and Manway would get caught in his conflict. But Varda actually held her center. She was most hated by Melkor because she was the queen of the stars, aligned with the light of the cosmos. But she held on to that light and stood against his energy of evil, of wanting power over and control, and helped to heal and redeem and conquer those energies of evil to support the healing of the world. So Varda, that energy of the stars, of the light and joy of cosmic consciousness, is aligned now with the galactic center, helping us in this time of chaos on the planet, helping us in this time when we're seeing the darkest aspects of humanity in this struggle of movement from these power over paradigms into new ways of being, into the Aquarian paradigms, into higher consciousness. In this time of turmoil and transition and transformation, Varda is holding her energy to guide us and telling us to stay in alignment with the galactic center, to stay honoring our connection with Source, to know that she and the energies of the earth and sky are guiding us through this turbulent time. She's reminding us that we ourselves are made of stardust and can stay in alignment with these energies of cosmic consciousness. I'm wearing now for this video a scarf given to me by my dear friend Elizabeth Satoris, and the words on this beautiful scarf are, "We are made of stars. We are of the earth and the sky." Varda and Manway are supporting us in realizing we are in a time of healing and transformation. We are in a struggle on the planet between those of us who are awakening and moving into higher consciousness and those who are resisting that and want to have that power over and control, want to come from ego, want to control us and control our world, even if it means the destruction of each other and of our earth. And we can hold that center and connection with Source and not get caught in fear, because Varda is reminding us that we are held in the support and energies of the stars and of our galactic center, guiding us to stay in our connection with the oneness of all that is, to keep coming from compassion, and to know that we are and always will be part of the oneness of all that is, held by these energies of the earth and sky in love and wisdom. I think it's significant that Tolkien was writing the Lord of the Rings trilogy during World War II, one of the darkest times we've been through on this planet. And we're in a turbulent time now. And Varda, coming from that story, is guiding us to have faith and hope, to know that we are held and guided. I love that it's coming from a modern myth. I think it's interesting that Eris was originally named Xena after a modern story. Varda and Manway are coming from this modern mythic story by Tolkien. And I think it's also telling us that we have this capacity within us to tap into our own creativity in this time. In the turbulence, in the chaos, it's also a time of heightened creativity. And I do believe that we're being guided to come up with new stories, new ways of seeing ourselves and the world, new paradigms, new perceptions, new music, new art that are supporting us in awakening and moving into higher consciousness. And Varda and Manway are guiding the way. And Manway is supporting us in its conjunction with the North Node and with Neptune to be in relationship from a place of compassion, to remember that true leadership is not coming from power over or fostering polarization or division or coming from ego. True leadership comes from compassion and from that alignment with spiritual consciousness to guide us in being in right relationship with each other. Coming back again to this chart, Varda at 29 degrees of Sagittarius is not only aligned with the galactic center, but the Sabian symbol for that degree is aligning us with the supreme intelligence of the cosmos. It is about being a messenger of divine consciousness, of cosmic consciousness. So Varda is reminding us that she is the queen of the stars. She is a messenger of source. She is reminding us of the stars and constellations that are guiding us through this turbulent time into higher consciousness. And Manway at 2 degrees of Aries, the meaning of that Sabian symbol is the importance of seeing ourselves in relationship to others, seeing ourselves in community, holding each other with compassion. And the Sabian symbol for the sun at 24 degrees of Aquarius is about the importance of rising above our emotionality, our reactivity, to be in alignment with spiritual wisdom. And it's opposite the full moon at 24 degrees of Leo. And the meaning of this degree, the image is a large camel crossing a vast and forbidding desert, meaning we need to trust that we have the resources within us to move through this trying and challenging and turbulent time, to know that we are held in these energies of the earth and sky, and that we have the resources within us to cross through this challenging time into the Aquarian paradigms and new ways of being. And now, as we look at where this full moon is in the sky, it is exquisite that it is here, right next to the royal star Regulus, the heart of Leo the lion, guiding us to have courage, to have faith, to come from our hearts, to know that we're in turbulent times, but we are being guided by the energy and wisdom of the stars. We are held in these energies of cosmic consciousness, guiding us through this turbulent time into new ways of being. So I encourage you at the time of this full moon, honor the insights that may be coming to you from Uranus. Look at where the sun and moon land in your chart and how you can be guided by this light of the full moon to see the support that's there for us, to know how to live from your heart, and to trust in the energies that are guiding us through this time. And look at where Varda and the galactic center are in your chart. To be reminded, to be able to come back to that awareness that she, the queen of the stars, is helping us remember that we are held in this connection to cosmic consciousness that will hold us through these turbulent times. She is saying, don't be afraid of the powers around you that are striving to control you or to derail this transition into higher consciousness. That we are held by the energies of the stars and of the galactic center and of our earth supporting us in moving past the turbulence, in not getting caught in fear, in not fearing that those who resist this change will win, that we are made of stars and supported in moving in to this time of higher consciousness, of unity consciousness, of new ways of being and of co-creating a new earth together. So may you call on Varda in times of fear or times when you feel mired in the turbulence of these times. May we call her into our hearts to help us stay in alignment with our hearts and our deeper knowing, and to have faith and hope and trust as we move through this time of the death of the old ways of being, death of the power over paradigms, into the new Aquarian paradigms of unity consciousness, of remembering our interconnectedness, of remembering who we are and our deep connection with the sacredness of the earth, to come into these new ways of being that are about balance and harmony and love and peace and justice and truth. Blessed be, and blessings and love to all of you.